you guys know if you're doing anything in the background, just mute your screen because we're just hitting on live now. Let me see. Let me see. I see you. I see you advertising your shirt.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, while you busy, Marcy just showing out here.
I see. All right, everybody. Oh my gosh. We can get started. I just wanted to take a quick look to make sure we actually are live. Yes, we are. So um, we can share from. Oh, let me turn this thing down. Okay. All right. Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is Shypanther Friends Show. Tonight is November 5th, Thursday, and this is the second day after the elections. So tonight topics is going to be election decision 2020. Like, what else will we be talking about today? And if this is your first time checking out Shy Panther and Friends, to let you know the whole mission of the show is to provide quality programming, and our goal is to uplift, educate, and empower. And you can reach out to us at Shy Panther and Friends Show, #1 at gmail.com. Is all one word, Shy Panther and Friends Show, #1 at gmail.com. And the website is shypanthermediagroup.org. All right. So, oh, I'm so eager to jump into it. I got to introduce my panel. How can I not? I got to slow down. All right. Marcy. Marcy, come on.
Good evening, everyone. This is MJ, your resident troublemaker.
Absolutely.
Uh, I am the creator and owner of Taylor Bees Beard Oil, soon to be Taylor Bees, and also I am the owner and creator of MJ Healthy Me, and I sell health and wellness products through TLC, Total Life Changes. So, Clarence.
Hi, everybody. I'm Clarence. I'm the retired one, and I do a little odds and ends on the side, but I'm technically retired, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying
Claire,
these two too.
I I agree. I love. I never thought it would be this great, but it is awesome.
Okay, good.
It
And
is
hopefully, my brother will be joining us later once he
right.
finishes Bible study.
Right, Dr. Henry Barlow, pastor of Morning Star Baptist Church. Hopefully, he will join us tonight. So he'll be
Oh
bringing.
yeah,
Yeah, it would be great to have him here.
yeah.
So, all right, guys. Now this morning, um, I woke up to the New York Times saying the president versus democracy. And just a couple of days ago, we were watching the election results coming in, which clearly showed this country divided. It's clearly divided. If you never thought that there was a systemic racism, if you never thought that there was just blatant bias, there it was in red and blue, divided down the middle. And even until this day, um, President Trump is pushing conspiracy theory and trying to discredit our voting system, saying that there's fraud. And he mentioned particularly the particular states that would help, he thought, push him over the top. So he wanted to stop counting the votes. He's saying, stop counting the votes. He's pushing it, pushing it. He went to court in Michigan, and I believe I can't remember. I think Georgia. And let me tell you one second because I kept it on my
In
page.
Pennsylvania.
And Pennsylvania. Okay. And they threw it out. They dismissed it. They dismissed it. So at this point, now what he's done, I was reading around, it appears that he wants to, is he trying to stage a coup? Is he, I mean, because his behavior is that's the direction that it's pointing to. So I looked up, I looked up what that would look like, and it says, how do you know if a coup, we know it's a coup if the government stops counting votes, declares someone a winner who didn't get the most votes, allows someone to stay in power who didn't win the election. So I mean, thoughts anybody? Well, before we start tearing it apart, welcome, Dr. Barlow. You probably can't hear me yet. Oh, he's putting on his ears. So he is here at the beginning of the show. So, all right, people who are tuned in, the Shypanther and Friends Show, please share because this is going to be a great one. Oh, hey, Dr. Barlow. Probably just he's getting all ready. But okay, guys, I threw it out there. So, what do you guys think? Is this guy trying to stage a coup? He's refusing to. I think he's going to. We all know what to expect from him at this point. We should all know, at least people on this show. So, what do you think?
Okay, I'm gonna jump right in the middle of this.
Okay.
Because I honestly feel that we have enough, for lack of a better term, I'll use this one. We have enough right-thinking people in this country that a third world coup, I don't see that happening. I think that there's too much in place that will prevent that from happening. But having said that, I will also say that there's going to be a lot of chaos because we have these friends groups who are very extreme. These people that are running around with their AR-15s and their AK-47s, and that they're raring for a fight. And all you need is for one shot to go off, and there's going to be a big problem. And what they have to understand is that we have young people in our neighborhood that are just not going to take it. They are not going to stand for it. Coming into the neighborhood, trying to stir up problems. They would definitely meet some stern resistance. But I don't. I'd like to stay optimistic. I don't think an actual coup is going to occur, but I think there's going to be some big problems.
Well, I agree. Now,
Oh, he made it very clear that there were going to be some problems. He made it very clear he's not going to make this easy. And that's why they have, I don't look at the news that much, and I try not to discuss a lot of political stuff or religion because people get really, really mad. But since we're on this forum, I have not really followed it, but the little that I did see, they were talking about his people are not letting him talk because he is already having a hissy fit. I mean, like a grown man, a kid grown, that phrase where they grown men but they act like children, and he's having
A tan-
tantrums. So they're refusing to let him just talk to the public, and this is the way that they put it on the news, that he's having tantrums, and so, and then with these lawsuits, that it's amazing how they can get this to go to court in one day. That's just unheard of to me, but hey, they got the money to do it.
right.
But it's just that
It was thrown out.
I just don't get it. And right now, I am kind of scared because these people are really, and the thing is, we're going to be the first target. And I just don't understand why. We're not the only people voting. I mean, we're not the only people voting.
Okay,
I don't know. I
all
don't
right,
even know.
all right.
Well,
Dr. Barlow is here now, and I put the question out there. Um, do you believe that President Trump is trying to stage a coup? Dr. Barlow, can you hear me? I don't know.
I don't hear him or see him. I don't see his mic on at all.
oh,
Oh,
I, I see him, but there's no
I don't see
no
him at
sound.
all.
okay. So is he? Can you reach out to him, Marcella? Because I can't. I don't think he can hear us. Uh,
Hmm.
okay.
What
Well,
what
Marcella.
Gail, to answer your question or your concern,
Okay.
I think we have to look at it in terms of uh, he was he was doing quite well initially, but as things started to turn, and when it really started to look bad for him, was when those votes started to come in from what we reference as uh, the black community or the urban areas, or making reference to it in those terms. That's what the commentators were doing. And then it started turning real fast. And that that is, to me, that's an indication that uh, black people really came out and voted. And because of the number of people that came out and voted all across the country in these large cities, they voted. And when they started recording those votes, and a lot of them were early votes, and as they started to count those early votes from the urban areas, was when all of a sudden those leads that Trump had started to disappear. And
Right.
naturally,
And the that a lot of the a lot of votes, the mail-in were supporting Biden, and apparently that is true because a lot of the votes that they're getting to actually, some of the a lot of the states wouldn't allow, is like by law that they couldn't count those mail-in ballots until after the election ended. So
right.
it really, really made a difference. So, and as the numbers grew for Biden, Trump was like coming undone in the worst way. So, okay, Dr. Barlow, you got us now?
I can hear you all. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Okay. All right. I can hear you all and see all of you. I'm sorry about that.
That's
How
okay.
is everybody tonight?
We're
Oh,
okay.
well, I think we
Good.
all right.
Good. 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 Good.
How are you,
Yeah.
sir?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Being amazed, like you all, that we've got all this unrest and this craziness that's going on in and around the country. But
Right,
uh, we're gonna make it through it. It'll be over in a few more days.
right. Well, they're
Yeah.
saying that by Friday or Saturday they'll have they're gonna call who's the actual president of the United States by Saturday. So, so what do you think, Dr. Barlow? What we were saying, what we were talking about?
Uh,
Has this
which part in
Uh,
particular?
about him trying to discredit the validity of the votes of the system that they have of counting the votes and actually going to court in a matter of hours and days.
Well, I mean, we've had 4 years of him saying all kinds of things, and for anybody to look and think that he's going to say or act any differently, I mean, he's going to act the same way now that he did when he first came in. Right. And you know, I just finished a Bible class where I was talking about another situation in the Bible where a person knew that it was not their, they weren't ready for the job. And I mean, this is something that he should have said 4 years ago. It was out of his league, out of his category, out of his element, and he shouldn't have never got in it in the first place. And we're looking for him to be something different now, and he's not going. He's going to continue to be who he is and what he has been all of this time. I mean, I've lost track of how many lies he's told, and for them to be amazed, and some of the news commentators talking about crying and feeling sorry and all this type of stuff. I don't feel any of that. He has shown us who he is. You know, a zebra never changes its stripes, and a leopard never changes its spots. So while we're looking for him to be something different, new and different, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
I mean, he's too old and set in his ways to be anything different now. So right. we just got to ride it on out. But you know, we only got a little while longer to go. What, about 75, 80 more days? It'll all be behind us.
Okay. Yeah, you know, and what Marcella was saying, I'm concerned too about the level of violence that they're going to, like showing up at the state capitals fully armed and with assault weapons on the Capitol grounds of some of these states. I mean, what the heck?
Well, I don't think they really want to open that door because they're not the only one that you know have guns. Let me just say that, and they're not the only one. I mean, there's a whole lot of people that have not revealed their hands yet. So if I was them, I wouldn't push that issue too much, because the worst thing in the world you want to do is to incite in-house riot. You don't want that. You really don't want that. You really don't want
Yeah,
that.
they want a civil war. They want a civil war. They really do. They want a civil war against the government and everybody that's non-white, or not, wouldn't even say non-white. Everybody that don't believe what they believe. These people are uneducated and they just I wouldn't even say all of them are uneducated. They want what they want. I mean, that's that beholding spirit that they've always had, and I don't see. Actually, I'm not surprised. They have always been very beholden people. They want to do whatever they want to do when they think they're being pushed or their civil liberties are being taken away. Look how they acted when they went to these Capitol buildings because they didn't want to wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? They gonna grab their guns to fight at any moment. We live in a warring country, and it's their ability in, well, should I say, their inner thinking that they have every right to raise their gun and war when they don't get their way, and they've always been like that. You have to look at the whole entire history. You know, that don't change. That's ingrained. I mean, they're born like that, you know. And I'm not going to say all of them, but it's the nature. It's that nature, you
Actually, it's
know.
reflected in the Constitution that they are, to some point, that they could do that, and that's exactly what they do every time
Yeah.
they that they don't get their way.
This is why they're not stopped when they grab their guns and go for it. This was why they are not stopped. But you know, here in Illinois, they do. In Chicago at the McCormick place, they got those troops ready.
You know,
Because
I was going to say that,
they don't have to worry about us.
right? I
They
was going
need
to
to
say
worry about
that
them.
because I did read today that that Biden's people, I mean, they've been preparing for things that they are not saying out loud and they're not showing their hand, but they're definitely preparing for whatever he could try to incite. So,
Well,
Well,
that's my point exactly. I mean, there are a whole lot of people that are prepared. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you all that I'm not prepared. I'm prepared.
yeah, well, you know, my experience has been when you're dealing with and and I call them bullies
yeah,
because a lot of times they you know, people that do a whole lot of woofing and yelling and screaming and flexing, the minute you flex back, that kind of puts them in a different place because I use the term, I talk to people in a language they can understand. When they get to acting stupid, then I have to let them know that I can be just as crazy as you are. I would rather not be, but I can go there. And I think if you don't do that, then you are emboldening these individuals. Right now, we have a lot of people in this country of that makeup who are emboldened because the leader of this country has emboldened them. He has given them
The
subtly
green light.
the okay to act the
Yep.
way that they're acting, and no one has really bothered to check them. Now, we
Nope.
see that the Attorney General in Philadelphia said right out, if you come here with that, you going to jail. And he was very stern about making that statement. Well, that's what you have to do because they are also violating laws that can be enforced. It's
right,
just that nobody's enforcing them. They're just kind of letting them do what they want to do. And
right,
somebody has to step up and say, look, we got to put a stop to this nonsense. We just can't let these people just do what they want to do. It was the same way with the riots. The police departments were told to stand back, and they just let these people just do what they wanted to do. And that was totally crazy to me. That should never have happened.
right.
But it did because they were allowed to do it. And once you stop allowing people to act in certain ways and you crack down on that, then we can deal with it. It can be dealt with. But you just have to have the leadership that are willing to do it.
All right, Marcy, were you gonna say something at that point?
Well, I know I was just trying to, talk about what, because I haven't seen anything except for this afternoon, and I just wanted to know where was Philadelphia on this, and this is something I've never seen before, where it takes a week or so before you find out if who's the new president. And I know they have to count these mail-in ballots, but that just amazes me. I've never seen like this before. It's like either I don't know if they're afraid or what's really going on. But I
Well,
think what they want to do is make sure that they're being precise. Not wrong. I mean, what have you all seen? Because I haven't really watched it, honestly. I have not.
well, Marcy,
I just don't want.
you got to remember that he put a postmaster general in position who knew nothing about the post office, but he wasn't put there because he knew something about the post office and the operation of it. He was put there to do exactly what he did, and that was to disrupt the distribution and the operation of the post office system as it related to sorting mail and so forth. And that's why we have the issues that we got now with these mail-in ballots. And you couple that with you have some uh, areas who they didn't deal with um, mail-in ballots. They didn't have the experience of it. So it's taking them a little longer than it would those areas like Florida. Florida has dealt with mail-in ballots like forever. So they had a system in place for dealing with it. But a place like Philadelphia didn't have a system for dealing with mail-in ballots. And it's like they had to learn how to deal with that. And then the volume of mail-in ballots that they had
Right.
was tremendous.
Right. And just the fact that some of the key states wouldn't allow for
Yeah,
any of the ballots, mail-in ballots, to be counted until after the election.
right.
You know, this year was so different because of the pandemic, and I just cannot imagine the volume of mail-in ballots that they got. So um,
Hmm.
even though they said they're going to announce Friday or Saturday who's going to be the president, I'm guessing that only because of the electoral votes that the one or the other got, which is Biden so far. And so the counting of the ballots will probably continue, but it would be almost like ridiculous because electoral college would say, you know, this happens and that's that. That's what's happened in the years past, you know. So
Well, and that's what's going to happen. And that's what's going to happen this time. I mean, the only issue is that we've got a fool that's sitting out there in Washington that's got some of these people all riled up. And again, I mean, they're out of their element. It's been the people of color. See, we were born in pressure. We live in pressure, and more than likely we'll die in pressure. Most of them
Yep.
don't know anything about pressure,
No.
and
No.
if they push that button, they're gonna be in for a rude awakening. They're gonna be in for a rude awakening. You know, nobody wants to go there. I mean, the blood that they actually are going that they're going to see in the streets is not going to be our blood. I mean, because we don't mind dying for a cause. Foreigners don't mind dying for a cause. But you know, the blue-blooded white Americans, they don't know anything about that. They don't know nothing about that. So I mean, they will be going down. They will be going down a path that they really don't want to go down. And somebody eventually tells them, you know, you don't want to do that. But I think that once the administration changes,
No.
that they will go a whole different way with all of this stuff. You'll see it'll be different.
Yeah. I'm not really concerned about it. I go about my daily activities, uh, whatever I'm set up to do on any particular day, I go do that. And uh, I don't, uh, my head's on the swivel, but it always has been. It's force of habit. I'm always looking around. I always try to be aware of my surroundings. And there are some places that I might avoid going because I don't consider it of a high priority that I go. So I just go and do what I have to do, and that will allow me to continue with a relative uninterrupted lifestyle, and I'm fine. Uh,
You're right, Clarence. We all need to keep our head on a swivel, and we're at a point in this country that we should be really fed up. You know what I'm saying? To the point that if we have to lose our life to demonstrate that, then so be it. But we should be at that point in this country right now because damn if we do, damn if we don't. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
and be on high alert for whatever comes what may, you know, because it's never going to end. Like you said, we're going to die in pressure. It's just not going to ever stop. It's just not. And at this point in time, especially as I've gotten older, I'm not in the business of making you comfortable. I'm not in the business of helping you learn who I am, and I'm just not in the business of your non-tolerance of me. If I'm offensive to you because of my blackness, so be it. But the thing is, just know I'm gonna meet you where you at. And I think that's where we need what we need to do. And then unfortunately, we have to have this conversation, you know, in this country at this time. But at 58, I'm just fed up. I have a zero tolerance at this point. Just zero tolerance at this point. And you're right. I'm gonna defend what's mine, and I'm not going to. And that's with anybody. That's with anybody. But you're right. I try not to worry about it. I'm more worried about the ones that live around me that have no sense right about now,
Right, right.
you know,
But
But
you
with all
know,
this crime and the
here's
carjackings and everything. But
another thing
you're right. We need
that they
to have
need
a
to stop.
swivel.
Here's another thing that they need to stop. I'm getting a message now from some relatives out of Minnesota that are saying, you know, the NAACP
Mhm.
has sent out a message that the white nationalist groups and these
mhm,
neo groups are going to be initiating people this weekend, and their task is to snatch young black men and young boys, hanging them and shooting them and torturing them and killing them. This is what's going to be happening for this weekend. So we need to stay prayed up and watch where we travel and all the rest of this stuff. I mean, it is these type of things also that are going on that's keeping all this hype going on in the streets. And
mhm.
see, you don't just have the white nationalists and the neo fools out here. We got some fools in our race too. There's some black fools out here too,
Yeah.
and they're gonna go out here and do a bunch of stupid stuff based upon something they read on a text message, not claiming that it's a message that came from the NAACP. Now, if they really wanted to put a message out, they wouldn't use this. They'll go on the radio. They'll go on television if they really wanted to put a message out.
Mhm.
They're not gonna use this through a text message. I mean,
Yeah.
this is some of the idiotic stuff that, and it's because of what we have allowed to happen. We've allowed a fool to run this country, and as a result of that, it has gotten fools all riled up everywhere.
But you know,
Right.
but you know, I look at this as this should be a teachable moment
It is.
for us.
It is.
You know, we should, in fact, especially for that young generation that went and voted. Now, sit back and look at the fact that because you voted, your vote was going to determine who the next president of this country is, because you went out and voted. And if you're looking at how those returns have came back, what pushed this situation over the top was the vote that came out of the urban areas, or to put it in more bluntly, that came out of the black area, because blacks went out and voted. And I was an election judge this time around, and I saw a lot of young blacks, young Hispanics coming into the precinct to vote. And
Mm-hmm.
many of them were first time voters.
Mm-hmm.
And the message that we, as the older generation, should be pointing out to them is that don't say that your vote does not count, because the fact that you did vote, you were able through all of your counterparts caused the election of the President of the United States. Now, what we have to do is understand, and we had this conversation a couple weeks ago about power. We need to understand that we have power that we just never use.
Mm.
But we can use this power. Once you realize you got power, then you have to strategize how to use it. Because see, prior to the election, when we had a couple rappers, I'm not going to get into names, but we had a couple rappers want to go around saying that, what are you going to do for me? Well, I can't do nothing for you until I get in office. Now, if I help you get in office, then I can come to you and say, okay, now I'm going to hold you accountable. And this is where we have to start to understand exactly what the system is that governs us as people. And once you start understanding the system and you know how it works, why do you think that there's so much voter suppression? Because the folks that are in power understand the system and they don't want you in it.
Right. And actually,
Absolutely. That's why they took civics out of the schools.
right.
That's why they took civics out of the schools because of that.
But you
They
know,
were trying to make sure that we had no voice whatsoever.
right. But you know what, too, guys? They realize they're the minority. They're the
Oh,
minority,
absolutely.
not us. And a lot of the things that are being passed around and all of this instigation trying to push a race riot or a civil war. I mean, we got to be smarter than that. It's we really have to be smarter than that because a lot of those nationalist groups, they're really against government, period. They're
Right.
definitely against government. So why, they're trying to choose pick on black people or gay people or Jewish folks. I don't know. I mean, that's something that hate groups normally do. But I know these folks are very extreme and they're anti-government, and that we all have to be smarter than to fall for it. First of all, how are you going to create a war against black and white when most of our families are full of both? Children, grandchildren, husbands, wives. So I think is on a whole nother level, and I think a lot of these people are just plain and simple anti-government too. So
And a lot of it is fear.
right,
See, it's basic fear because the people who are in power at this point and those who exercise that privilege of being who they are, they they know that if they were people of color, then they would be on the receiving end of that stuff that they've been dishing out. So the fear is, if you get in a position of power, that you, and we've heard this, you're going to treat me like I've been treating you. And they don't understand, I'm not interested in treating you like you treated me. I just want you to just don't get in my way when I'm trying to do something. I want the same things out of life that you do. I want the same thing for my kids that you want for yours. No more, no less. And I want to have the same opportunities that you have to attain those things. And they don't see that because for generations, they've been taught that they're better than. And as a result of that, they don't want to see you even look like you want to come up or be at their level because they don't look at you as being equal with them. I don't care what their position in life is. They always feel that they're better than you. Always. Oh, Gail, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Marcella, Marcella, I cut off. Marcella, were you gonna add to that?
I hear you. Huh? I can't hear you. Can y'all hear me?
Were you?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
muted.
we
I was muted. Can you? Were you gonna add to what Clarence was saying?
I missed most of it because I couldn't hear him.
Oh, I guess we about to
Oh,
have
I
some
can't. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of interference for some reason.
Okay. Well, he was talking about that they're afraid of us gaining, actually using our power and gaining position. Did you hear me? I don't know if she can. I don't know if she can hear. Did
can
you
you
hear?
hear me, Marcy?
I can. I just heard Clarence come in.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you, Gail.
Okay. Clarence was saying he was talking about the white community are afraid of blacks gaining power and position. I don't think. Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
think.
know. At this point in time in this country, I don't think they worry too much about that. Even the poor ones, they look at the fact that I'm looking at the fact that the ones that are doing this, I mean, these people are, without a better words, I will say just a lack of real intelligence in regards to what's really going on, and he's placating upon it. He knows that, and this has always been, especially with rural people that live in the rural areas, because of the fact that you're right, they're mostly anti-government, and these people really don't have a lot of knowledge in regards to, they go by what they've been told or taught, and to be really astute into politics and stuff, I just don't think that they have it. And it's unfortunate that the Republican Party has always played with them in regards to this. They know the lack of education that they don't have in regards to real politics. They're not astute in it, and they really have done these people a disservice, and they don't even know it because of the fact of the way that they act. Look at how when Martin Luther King had to go to them and let them know, when they were trying to get the labor unions together and stuff, and he had to just let them know, this affects you too. You may hate us as blacks, but this affects you too as a low level worker. You're being disenfranchised as well, and they don't understand that. Everything that he has done, if you notice, it has mostly affected poor people, but they don't look at that like that. And these caucus people that live in these rural areas, they think that this man is they savior, the person that finally came in and think on their level. Well, his educational level is pretty much about this, but he's filthy rich. So he's made them feel that, like, hey, um, we're important now. We finally got somebody on our side who thinks like us and who wants us to, you know, be a part of this Americas, because I think they feel kind of left out and stuff too, because they're a forgotten people. And I don't really think they're a forgotten people. They're just set in their ways. You should not still have towns in the United States, parts of the United States, especially the South, where you cannot go at night and they tell you you better not be seen, or you can't go there, period. That's shameful. It's shameful, you know. And this man placates upon it, and he makes them feel like, hey, you all have arrived. You're gonna take over. Anytime you tell a body of people and tell them to just to stand by, you think people don't know code? You think that they don't know what you're saying to them? And I really just think he has done them a disservice. They may not think so, and a lot of them may wind up looking at this video, but they may not think so. But he has. He has done them a disservice. You know, this government, as far as poor people, has done they'll send aid all over the world and won't deal with the aid here because most people think that it's black people that are poor. No, it's not. It's them in these areas that you can't go in as a black person or a person of color. You know, you and I have had conversations with Wilma in regards to that, where her daughter worked, where she had to go and visit her, up in the mountains, and
She actually
she
Wilma's
was terrified as a
Wilma,
Puerto Rican. Yeah, she
yeah,
was.
she's watching tonight. Yeah, I agree,
Well,
Marcel. Okay, Dr. Barlow.
I just want to say this because I unfortunately I have to go. I've got something else that I got to do. But the real side of things, what has really happened is that these last 4 years, this current president has brought shame and damnation to white society across this globe. This
Yeah.
country, this country has been made a laughing stock for the world. And when they actually figure out all that he has done, a lot of them are going to jump out of windows and kill themselves. Trust me when I tell you that, because he has really made them look like complete fools. Talking about draining the swamp and all this type of stuff. That's exactly what he did. He drained the swamp, and he drained the country as well. And all those around him, he has made them rich and made a whole lot of the rest of them poor, unfortunately. But for the world, he has put this country in a position that they really won't figure out until after they get him out of office, how much it's going to take to bridge those gaps and to make those connections that he has torn asunder. And it's not the people of color that are going to suffer.
Right.
It's these lily whites that are actually going to suffer from what he has done. So again, I tell y'all be encouraged. It's going to work itself out. I'm one that believes that there is a God and that he is in control, and that this was within his will to allow this to happen. And it happened for a reason.
For a reason.
And a lot of us will not understand it until a little bit later. You know, they have a song that we used to sing in church, you'll understand it better by and by.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the by and by is going to come real soon. And a lot of people are going to get a clear understanding as to why it was necessary for this individual to be in the position that he was in and to do the type of things that he did. And this was to expose a whole lot of other stuff. Because now, one of the wonderful things about having Donald J. Trump in office as the president of the United States is that he told on everybody, including himself. And he has exposed a whole lot of things that for a whole lot of years and with different people has been hush hush and a secret. He's made the secrets of the world visible to all eyes, and he didn't care. Now, the result of what he has done, he's going to pay for. I can tell you that too.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
He's going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have gotten a chance to see some stuff that we never would have seen had anybody else been the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to ask yourself, whenever you find yourself dealing with a situation, you ask yourself, what are you supposed to learn from it? There's some things that we were supposed to glean from this.
Right.
And a lot of folk have been focused in on, how could they let him continue to do what he's doing? No, watch what he's doing and learn from it. Because there are a whole lot of lessons that has gone out. and I don't really have the time to go into that right now, but a little bit later, we should have this discussion again. And I'd be willing to share some stuff with you all that I know for a fact.
Well, definitely, I want you to come back. I will definitely ask you back.
I thank you, Gail. I appreciate you, Clarence. And Marcy, I love you too. You know I love you. I got to go. God bless you all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I love you too. See, talk to y'all. Talk to you later.
All right.
Well, I had said earlier that this is a teachable moment that we're going through now. And we should use it to our advantage. And I pointed out the fact that one of the things that we should glean from this is to show the people who are 2 generations removed from us, who are coming behind us, that they should understand something as simple as voting. Voting is, I've heard it said by other people, so it's not an original thought that I've had, but I like it, that voting is a way of expressing yourself. And if you do it on a high enough level, which is what happened this time around, it was done in such a way that it impacted who is going to be the next president of this country. As soon as they get through with all that nonsense that they're going through, that Trump is taking them through, that ultimately Joe Biden is going to be the president of the United States. And he is put in that position, a lot having to do with the Black vote and the fact that young Black people came out and voted. So now it's up to us to take that and sit down and make sure that we get that message out, that don't ever say that your vote don't count, because it does count.
Right.
And now what you have to do now is the time that you can demand an audience with the powers to be, because you can walk in and you can say, I understand that the reason you're here is because of me. I had a lot to do with you being there. So now I'm going to have a lot to do with you staying there.
Right.
See, so here's what some of my concerns are in my community, and what can we do to bring in some resources so that I can improve the educational system in my community, so I can build up some small businesses and developing small businesses and so forth, because one of the biggest issues we have is lack of resources on all levels.
And even with the fact that they want to take away the hospitals out of the community, as far as having health care for women who are expecting, the maternity care. It's just unbelievable, So.
And the Supreme Court is primed to take away the ACA.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Even all the reproductive rights are definitely on the table. And when people say, oh, being pro-life, but the thing about when you have particular laws, it's an umbrella. And there are many, many things that fall under that umbrella that they don't talk about. They keep harping on the thing that they believe that that will be popular to people.
Yeah, the hot button issue.
There you go.
Right.
So it's important to understand there are many things that fall under that reproductive rights bill or act. So, and Marcia, I saw your mic open. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just getting a text from somebody, a call from somebody earlier. and they repeated what my brother had just said, that they had gotten some information from somebody that they knew who worked within the FBI to be very careful, because these groups are going to be targeting especially young black males this weekend.
Mhm.
So,
You know,
but
did you all hear on the news that some of the ladies were in I think it was Women's Park up in the South Loop, and there were some people who came and didn't, and they saw some writing on the ground that said Black Lives Matter, and it said something about Biden and Biden 2020, and they attacked these two ladies. They attacked them in the park, and they were all, I'm guessing they were all white. Um,
Mhm.
and so, I mean, and the two ladies who were there, they were saying that these women walked up and they just assumed that they wrote that on the ground, and they didn't like that they were defacing the property. But we know better. We know that they wouldn't have done that because they thought they defaced the property. They got upset because what was written on the ground. So and then in what Ravenswood and Lincoln Park, they were there. I guess people woke up to flyers on their cars talking about, I guess, with these national white supremacist groups and the Klan and different propaganda that they had that they put onto these folks' cars.
Mhm.
And I mean, I hadn't heard
oh
about any.
yeah, because we got them right here. We got them right here in Chicago. I believe it. I believe it, because we have them right here in Chicago, and then some of them might be people we see every day.
Right, and it
You
was
know, I believe it.
yeah, it was on the news, so they definitely did it. Um,
You know,
they didn't try.
look at some of the neighborhoods, and this cause for concern, because even some of the neighborhoods around around here, you know, if there's a spike of violence this weekend, they're carrying it out. Because I don't care what anybody says, I still say when all that looting and carrying on was going, and all them shootings, they were here in Chicago. They were here, and I believe they were shooting a lot of our children. I really do. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the police department said. I don't care what anybody says. They were here, and they knew they were here. And if the government does not step in, shame on you. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Because they were here, and their thing is to attack, and these people feel they have the right to do that.
right,
That's the problem in this country. They feel they have the right to do that.
right.
Let you walk into a county building under the same laws with AK-47 on your shoulder or in your hand. They're gonna gun you down.
Exactly.
As a black person, they're gonna gun you
Even,
down.
even when they
Matter of
did
fact,
work,
even if you walked in there, even if you walked in there as a white woman, they're gonna gun you down. But they're not gonna do it. They're not in the business of putting white men in jail or challenging them. They're just not. I just saw a video where man, the police telling him to get down on the ground. He had to take his gun out after he took his taser out. And the next thing you know, the man gets up and he's running after the officer, and the officer got his gun in his hand.
I saw that.
But the
I
man
saw.
chased the officer. Then the man jumped back in his car, and he rammed the car into the officer's car. Could have killed him, but the officer refused to use deadly force or even his taser against the man. He didn't do either. He let this man chase him. The man didn't have no weapon or nothing in his hand, but the man was chasing him around. I, it was just unbelievable, unbelievable. And I'm sorry, that officer needs to be fired. He needs to be fired, because that man was as aggressive as he could be. I don't know what the case was, but he was as aggressive as he could be. And
Yeah.
it's just it's Chris.
Right. Well,
Well, only thing I can say is let let us be careful. And I still say that there's a lot to be learned from what is going on now
Oh yeah,
that can be
absolutely.
used to enhance the position that we are in as a people. But we just have to be smart about using what uh, what has been afforded us, and that's the
Yes.
opportunity to make some demands, to make uh, some inroads into uh, what a lot of other people have had the advantage of. We need to start thinking differently, and
Yeah.
I hope that our young people can start to understand that killing killing each other and burning down your neighborhood is not going to get you where you need to go. You're going to have to do something different. And
Right.
if you can see that uh, there's a way that you can work within the system that is set up to actually change the system. And if you get in the system, then work on changing it. You're not going to change the system from the outside. You're not going. It's you're just not going to do. But get in the system so that you can change it because
Okay.
it needs changing.
All right. And
and
Mark,
and, and I think a lot of it is how we how we have to use our power, and our power is knowledge, and our power is our dollars. We have to be very careful of how we spend them, where we spend it, and pull our money. We ain't even got to pull our money together. Just build our resources, and basically, as far as the status quo is concerned, not spend our money on certain things. We have to become very reserved, and kind of like drop out, and stop talking about what stop talking publicly. I would say, when we have a problem, yeah, let them have it, fire back, but stop talking public about what we're going to do, any marches or anything like that. We need to learn how to do how we used to do it before, segregation. I mean, before desegregation. And I think we kind of, honestly, we should have never desegregated. We should have stayed the way we were. That would have built a lot of our power in retrospect. Because I looked at, y'all look at that thing on HBO, Love Country, um, that show that comes on, and man, that right there, it just told a lot about how powerful we were at that time when we had our own towns, everything. And yeah, they came and they wanted it. But um I think we had to stay segregated a little longer to build our power, we would have been fine. We would be fine now. I really, really do. And I think, as slowly, we need to kind of still, we need to go ahead and separate ourselves and think about people and not everybody else. We put everybody else before us. And I think this is how people take away our power, because we put everybody else before us. We make everybody else comfortable. We're very accommodating people, and I think we need to really just kind of step back and stop doing that. And we can't give passes all the time. What burns me up a lot too is when they be on the news, and they first thing the newscaster want to ask you, do you forgive them? Hell no. That would be my thing. No, I don't. I don't forgive them for the aggressions that they display upon me or my family, or when they kill one of my children, or they kill somebody that I know. You know what I'm saying? Hell no, I don't forgive you. I want you to be held to the same standards as any of us, and let the law do its job. And the law needs to do its job, you know. But I'm just saying, we got to stop being so forgiving and comfortable, because this is our life here in the US, and we have to make it work. Like my brother said, we're gonna die with stress and all this. But we have to still be able to, in the meantime, while we live in this life, do what we need to do to make our lives more comfortable, to make our lives less fearful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
and something that
when it
you
comes to our
said,
community, we need to be able to clean it up ourselves. We need to police our own communities and clean it up ourselves. We can't
something
look
else
for
that you
everybody else
said,
to lead. We have.
something else that you said about coming together as a collective group. I think we need to do that because you can look across the different ethnic groups, and that's exactly what they've done. They've built a collective or kind of like a coalition. So if somebody is coming to town or they're coming to where you are and they need help to get on their feet, then they work together. They pooled their resources together to help that person or help that family get on their feet, and then that person moves and then they help the next one coming up. And I think that's something that we don't do. And if we did do that, I'm almost certain that we did that when we were segregated, because that's what we did. I think that would be huge to help us build within our own community, and that would help us gain. Well, we have power, but we need to use it, and we can do that even more so if we did work collectively like that. But for some reason, we haven't been doing that. And I don't know why, but I know that we should start. We should start. It can
See,
go.
we were doing it through the churches. We were doing it through the churches and stuff, and that like my brother was saying, that money, man, that money is that servant for them, or they're the servant to that money. And I'm not going. I can't speak on anybody else, but from what lately what I've been seeing, they not all let together either. Gail, don't let it fool you, because a lot of them they have come and they have assimilated. They have definitely assimilated. You still see it kind of among the Asians, but they have their problems and stuff too. My problem is with other races of people. No, everybody stays silent when black folks are going through it. But when they're going through it, they want to mimic the things that we need to do. And you're right, maybe we need to mimic that. But one group in particular that we need to make sure, so that we can have that same model, never again, are the Jews. We need to be able to have that power like they do. Have
Yeah.
that power like they do. You can't even speak publicly about Jews without them being able to go ahead and disengage you and call you to your stuff, where you're making public apologies to them. And when it
Oh
comes
yeah.
to Semitic, I won't get into history, but Semitic people were black people. So I that part I don't know. But I'm just
I
saying
know that all the
we
groups
have
have their
to.
problems, but they have a system that supports them, and we can do the same. We can do the exact same thing, and I believe that we're going to have to do that. We're
I
going to
think we
have.
have a system where we support each other, because none of our businesses would survive without black people. If a black business is
I
thriving,
don't mean so
black
much.
people are helping that business thrive,
I don't mean so
because
much.
they wouldn't be in.
Yeah, I don't mean so much businesses per se. I mean a collective where, like, I would say, okay, one example, like the Chinese have like an association where if people come to the country, they help them get settled, they help them get the English classes, they help them get some of the resources that they need. And we don't. Do we have that? Do we have that? If we do, then it's through we have these things that maybe through some community, like I can't think of the name of it, where it's like government funded and this and that, and there's nothing wrong with getting government help, but I just want to see us build some collectives that we can come to, that we can help, and we used to have those.
But the thing is, when they come, who's coming to this country that are black Americans? Nobody.
I
The
don't mean
people,
from
the
the
people
country.
that's coming from.
I don't mean from the country. I mean where we help and support the community. I'm I'm talking about those type of things.
Oh well, yeah, we have smaller individual groups. We have grassroots people. I mean, you've had them on your show. We have grassroots people out there that are doing what you're saying. A lot of us just don't know about it, but they out there. They on the front lines with, and
Right. I know.
even with people that we still have people in our community that kind of like, calm down the gang wars and stuff. They out there.
Much
They're
I know.
definitely out there.
I know that, but
They
I'm saying
just need to be
in
put to the forefront so people
Inglewood,
know about them.
right? But Inglewood, I've seen I've gone there to different events that they've had, and they have a huge, huge support system. That is very wonderful and incredible. And they do have the boots on the ground people. They are out there. But I'm saying there's so much. I don't know. Maybe I don't know who they are. In a lot of cases, you're right. We don't know who they are, and basically, you find out who these people are through word of mouth. And I'm sure that's the way it was then. But I think that for as many as there are of us, it should be a wider circle. I just
Mhm.
feel like that.
And
I,
you know what? We in those groups, and have seen them, and you have to. We include everybody else too. We have to start thinking about ourselves. We just we just do. We have to start thinking more about ourselves. And all the other groups should include Black people too, but we have to think about ourselves. And another thing with us, we can't even get islanders or Black Latinos or anything like that to just come together with Black Americans. We're basically on our own.
Well,
If you've been around any of them, they'll check you in a quick minute, like, no, I'm not Black, I'm Jamaican, or I'm Bahamian, or I'm Nigerian. they
right.
don't they don't do that.
But
They
okay,
look down on us too.
I wouldn't even be worried about that because our experience is exclusive to us, and we know that.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be worried about all
Absolutely.
of that. So, I mean, I just feel like we have a lot of groups that are doing things, but it should be somehow the net should be cast wider so that we could come together. And can you imagine? Can you imagine that huge collective
Oh yeah. Yeah.
support?
Absolutely.
Clarence, you were going to say
Absolutely.
something?
And I believe it's beginning to happen with everything that we've gone through in this country in the last year. I believe it's beginning to happen. It's beginning to happen. And we as people, we have to reach out too. That's why your platform is so important, for the smaller people who don't get recognized, and for the people who are out there doing what's necessary and what needs to be done. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So that people will know, and hopefully more people will start to tune in and just recognize that, look at all this help and this talent out here, because these people are doing it from their hearts. They're not just doing it to be doing it. They're doing it from their hearts. And sometimes they don't even get funding.
yeah.
I look
Well,
at the many teachers. I know a lot of teachers who come out of their pocket to buy supplies for children. It's just unheard of. But yet on my tax bill, a lot of my money goes to CPS,
Okay, but
Board of
Clarence,
Education.
jump in real quick. Clarence.
yeah, let me just briefly say, because I'm going to have to go because I haven't eaten. um, but let me just say that that was the point that I was making about this being a teachable moment on so many levels. But I think if I could just put a fine point on it, the fact that when we came together, look at what we were able to accomplish just by uh, going out, and I'm using the term, just going to vote. Look at what happened as a collective group across the entire country. We moved as one because we were singly focused on what needed to be done. And we need to do more of that as it relates to the things that will ultimately affect our lives and our children's lives and our grandchildren's lives, we need to start to be more focused on that. But
Right.
I'm going to have to leave you also.
Well, I'm gonna close out the show anyway.
Okay.
Thank you everybody for joining Shy Panther and Friends tonight. You can reach us at Shy Panther and Friends Show #1 at gmail.com. Don't forget to visit the YouTube page and subscribe and like and share. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. God bless and take care of yourselves and your neighbors. Thank you, Marcella. Thank you, Clarence. We had a great show.
Okay.
You're welcome. Good night. Good
All
night,
right.
everyone.